I definitely created a world and I put together a bunch of images that inspired me, that I felt like would inspire the sounds. And I started that way. I started with the images first, and then the sound is inspired by the images. I never worked with anyone that I had so much in common with and that I had so many options with. So this is perfect.
I feel the same. I think your style is, in a weird way, like, it definitely reminds me of like our culture. I think about like my mom's style or my grandma's style, and how there's a term, you know, in Spanish, like, siempre tienes que estar arreglada. And I think you're just the epitome of that. Creatively, like when we come up with looks, we're taking inspiration from our personal experiences and our personal culture. And then I really do use Pinterest based on, you know, an image that you'll send. I'll do the reverse image search on Pinterest, and then I'll find like more references and I'll share them with you. And so it's a really useful tool for us.
No, definitely.
I think for sure motherhood changed your aesthetic a little bit.
My dream was always to be a hot mom, you know, like I didn't want to be the traditional, like, oh, just because I'm going to be a mom now means that I can't wear certain things or means that I can't express myself the same through fashion. Being Latina, being Colombian has always been such a big part of my artistry, from my aesthetics, from my very first music video. I shot it in Colombia. The way that I dressed, the way that I did my hair, the way that I did my makeup, the way that I did everything, it always tied back to that, and that feeling of how you said, like, my aunt, who's one of the people that raised me, she comes to mind when you think about that person who's like siempre está arreglada, siempre está como bien pinchada, always, you know, doesn't matter what's going on, and she always has to get up and blow dry her hair and do her curls and do her makeup.
I love that.
That always inspired me, because when I was first building my world musically, and I was very much like finding myself as a woman, even just as a creative, I always made little designs on my own nails. I would make my own clothes, and I just always made sure that I had that feeling still of like where I come from. Growing up in Virginia, I feel like a lot of people, they used to always, since I was really young, be like, oh, you're not really from here. Where are you from? But, you know, people where I grew up, everybody just shopped at the mall and they all had the same clothes, and I used to make my clothes. Or I would always get clothes from Colombia, and I would always bring home like denim from Colombia. They're like more exciting, more interesting. They're more like textile, even, like, if you will, you know, they have a lot more texture. I've always been an artist who's into mixed media. Like growing up, I always make collages. I just love to be able to mix photos with painting, with fabrics, with like all types of different textiles. And that was like something that I loved forever. That translated in that sense where it's like fashion was my way to express myself in that same way, where I could just mash up all the things that I love. My main inspiration, I feel like, has always just been powerful women that, you know, aren't afraid to say no, women that...
Unapologetic.
Yeah, they're just unafraid in the world, and they just move in the world that way.
You'll send me a reference, and I'll go on Pinterest and I'll grow the references based on that image. Fashion and glam world, like, we use Pinterest so much. I can think of one really funny time. You sent us in the thread a picture of a fish. Do you remember this?
For what?
You sent us a photo of a fish, and you loved the fins. I inserted the photo in Pinterest, and then we found all these like silhouettes that were like fish-like. And then the designer made that blue that we were calling the fish dress. But I think that's like how we build on concepts a lot, where you'll just send me either like a vintage look that, you know, you're really inspired by, or a random thing like a fish.
Rush, I felt like during that time, that was kind of like the grounding for the Kali Uchis aesthetic, where it was like I
totally remember.
You know, I was shooting everything like on film. So it was just me and my friends. We had some rollerblades, and I put them all like in little vintage pieces that had...
And you were wearing like the shorts.
Yeah, I was wearing the little like rollerblading type shorts.
Yeah.
I very much feel like once I put something out into the world, it's the world's now, and people can be inspired by it as much as they want to. And I actually feel so powerful when I see things from even like 3-4 years ago that people are still recreating or still inspired by. Like, it would just make me happy. Like, I literally just love that. I already have my board together for how I want the next looks, and then the whole next aesthetics is it's different. It's very, very different from Sincerely, but obviously can't share that here because
it's a surprise.
Exactly.